Hello, everybody. Today we're going to do some Plato and in particular Thrasymachus. So let me just share my screen. We'll get everything set up. So we have two translations here that we're going to compare and contrast. We're going to see how far we get on with this. So let me share my screen. So we're reading the Thrasymachus part, and the Thrasymachus part starts at 336b. We have it here also in the Tufts translation, which is the translation from James Adams. And this is the translation by Dr. David Horn, an Irish guy. So, he doesn't seem to want to take this Thrasymachus. So we have it here. Now, Thrasymachus, even while we were conversing, had been trying several times to break in and lay hold of the discussion, but he was restrained by those who sat by him, who wished to hear the argument out. But when we came to pause after I had said this, he couldn't any longer hold his peace, but gathered himself up. Like a wild beast, he hurled himself upon us, as if he would tear us to pieces. And Polymarchus and I were frightened and fluttered apart, and he bawled out into our midst. Now here you can see the notes. Okay. So what is this word here? There is no word for it. Okay. So gathering himself up, he sprang at us like a wild beast, as though he would seize and carry us off. Thrasymachus comes down like a wolf on the fold. The expression "kenai" emus, I think, would be too weak. Okay. So let's see what Dr. Horan says. Now, even while we were conversing, Thrasymachus made several efforts to take control of the discussion, but he was prevented from doing so by people sitting beside him who wanted to hear the discussion. But as we had paused and I had asked this question, he held his peace no longer. Gathering himself up like a wild beast, he came at us, though he would tear us to pieces. Polymarchus and I were panic-stricken with fear as he roared out into our midst. "What is this nonsense?" said he. Quote, "That has taken hold of you for so long, Socrates, and why are you both fooling around and giving way to one another? Yes, if you really want to know what it is that is just, do not just ask questions or try your best to refute someone when they give you an answer, knowing full well that it is easier to ask questions than to answer them. Answer the question yourself and say what it is that is just according to you. And do not tell me what it is, that it is what is needed, or what is beneficial or profitable, or expedient or advantageous. Just tell me clearly and precisely what it is, for I will not accept your answer if you propose this sort of nonsense." So we can see Thrasymachus is pretty angry here. Now, when I heard him, I was shocked. And looking at him in terror, I thought that if I had not seen him before he saw me, I would have been struck dumb. But as it happened, once the argument had begun to make him mad, I looked at him first, and so I was able to answer him. And I said, with a slight tremble in my voice, "Thrasymachus, do not be so harsh on us. For Thrasymachus here and I were making mistakes in considering the argument. Rest assured that our mistakes are unintentional. If we were searching for gold, we would never give away to one another deliberately in the search and ruin our chances of finding it. You certainly should not presume that in searching for justice, something more precious than a lot of gold, we would then give away to one another in this mindless manner, and not be so serious about bringing it to full light. Do not make that presumption, my friend. No, in my opinion, we lack the ability, so it is surely far more reasonable than you clever people have mercy on us, rather than being harsh. And when he heard this, he broke into scornful laughter. By Hercules, said he, there it is, the familiar irony of Socrates. Indeed, I predict this already. Yes, I told these people that you would not be willing to answer questions and would speak ironically and do anything rather than answer the question someone answered you. So let's just have an immediate quick reflection on this section already. What is it that's going on? I mean, we have the issue of Thrasymachus' anger. And the description by Plato, and I'll just go get myself a pen, that he is a wild beast. So we have this idea of a beast, that Thrasymachus is angry, upset at what Socrates is doing and the way he's going about it. He deems it inappropriate. But for what reason? We don't know yet. And then what Socrates says is we lack the ability. We don't know. And then we have this irony. Okay. There is the familiar irony of Socrates. Indeed, I predicted this already. Yes, I told these people that you would not be willing to answer questions and would speak ironically and do anything rather than answer the question someone asked you. You're indeed wise, Thrasymachus, said I. So you knew full well that if you were to ask someone how much 12 is, and if you were to introduce your question by saying to him, don't tell me, my man, that 12 is 6, or 3 times 4, or 6 times 2, or that it is 4 times 3, because I will not accept your answer if you talk such nonsense as this. I'm sure it is obvious to you that no one could answer your questions if you were to put it like that. But if he responded to you, Thrasymachus, what are you saying? Can I not give a single one of the answers you mentioned? That is amazing. Even if one of them happens to be the answer, should I say something other than what is true? Or what do you mean? What would you like him to reply? So, what is this example of the mathematics? I mean, we're talking about, 12 has several different ways to get it. And then the other thing is we have to keep in mind is Plato talking in a meta sense here? What is the nature of disagreement? And particularly for Thrasymachus, who, isn't, from what I have read around, isn't a philosopher. So how does that impact what is saying here? Thrasymachus is saying that he can't give certain answers. Well, said he. So this is like that question of mine. There is no reason why not, said I. But even if it is not like that, but it seems like that to the person you are questioning, do you not think he is likely to nonetheless to answer based on how it appears to him, whether we are prohibiting these responses or whether we are not? Is that what you are going to do now? He said. Will you give one of those answers that I prohibited? I would not be surprised, said I, if that is how it seemed to me once I had considered the matter. So no answers prohibited. Communication. Thrasymachus seems to be frustrated and angry, but the question is he legitimately frustrated or angry? Or is it understandable that he's frustrated or angry? My immediate thought is that there's a potential incommensurability between these two thinkers at the moment. Okay. And if I should present a different answer about justice besides these and better than all of them, what fate would you deserve? The fate that is appropriate to someone who does not know, said I. There is no alternative, and presumably it is appropriate that he learn from someone who knows. So this is the fate I deserve to suffer. How sweet you are. But as well as learning, you should also pay a fee. Okay, so we have money. And we have this issue at 337D. And if I should present a different answer about justice besides these, and better, so we're looking for a better answer. And one of the main motivations that I have is what explains Thrasymachus' anger. We can say, and we've several different hypotheses here, we can say that Thrasymachus is just a bit of a fool. We could say that he is somebody who doesn't have a crafted soul and isn't a philosopher, doesn't have the skill to be a philosopher, but yet is trying to say something in a not so sophisticated manner. Or we could say that he actually is somebody who's sophisticated and is just completely annoyed by the implicit power relations that Socrates doesn't want to recognize. Now, we do have to be careful with this approach. But, these are three possible explanations. Okay. So what is the fate? The fate that is appropriate to someone who does not know. Okay. So you should pay a fee to learn. Yes, when I get the money. You have it, said Glaucon. If money is an issue, speak on, Thrasymachus, since we will all pay for Socrates. Yes, I'm quite sure you will, said he, so that Socrates may arrange things as usual. He does not answer the questions himself, and when someone else answers, he may take hold of the argument and refute it. So, obviously, Thrasymachus here is frustrated with T's method. Best of men, said I. How could someone give answers when, in the first place, he does not know, nor does he claim to know? And secondly, Even if he does have some thoughts on the matter, he is prohibited from saying what he believes by a man of no mean status. No, it is more reasonable that you speak, since you actually claim to know, and to be able to express what you know. So you really must do this. Gratify me by answering the question. Do not hold back, and instruct Glaucon here, and the others too. Once I said all this, Glaucon and the others implored him to do what I had asked him to do. And Thrasymachus was obviously eager to speak, or eager to impress people, since he had thought he had a really good answer. But he pretended to be keen that I be the one to answer the questions. He gave his assent. And then he said, there is wisdom. There is the wisdom of Socrates, although he himself does not want to teach. He goes about learning from others, and he does not even thank them. And this is very also interesting. I mean, in 337, Thrasymachus is eager to impress. What you're saying is true, Thrasymachus, said I. I do learn from others, but when you say I do not give thanks, that is not true, for I give as much as I am able to give. But since I do not have money, I am only able to give praise. And once you give your answer, you will know full well, there and then, just how eagerly I praise someone who seems to speak well, since you believe you will speak well. Then listen, said he. Indeed, I maintain that what is just is nothing else but the advantage of the stronger. Well, why don't you praise me? You just don't want to. So, I maintain that justice, what is just, is nothing else but the advantage of the stronger. So the question is here, is there any particular emphasis? Are we just talking about the concept of justice? Are we emphasizing the nothingness? I mean, it's just not there. Or are we talking about the advantage of the stronger primarily here? Are we talking about all of that simultaneously? So we have this statement, and within it, there is the potential aspect that we're talking about. We're talking about the elites, the stronger in this sense. We're talking about potentially a conventional form of justice. We're talking about the metaphysical idea of the concept of justice. Does it actually exist? So I'm just getting another page here to write on. So I should understand what you are saying first. So just give me a moment here. Said I. At the moment, I still do not know what you mean. You maintain that the advantage of the stronger is just, but what exactly do you mean by this? Thrasymachus, for presumably you're not maintaining that if Polydamas, the pancreatist, is stronger than we are, and it is to his advantage to eat beef for his body, then this food is also advantage for us weaker folk, and just too. You're loathsome indeed, Socrates, said he, and you are interpreting the argument in a sense that does the most damage. So, from Thrasymachus's POV or point of view, we have a problem with ignorance, interpretation, and Socrates not giving answers. So he sees Socrates as a obfuscatory. Okay. Not at all, best of men, said I. Just explain what you mean with greater clarity. Do you not? Do you know, said he, that some cities are governed as tyrannies? Okay. So we have this stronger aspect. Justice is nothing but the interest of the stronger. Okay. And then the evidence to back this up is that some cities are governed as tyrannies, some as democracies, and some as aristocracies. So we have evidences anthropological fact. Of course, and whatever rules in each city's exercises power. Yeah, okay. And each ruling group institutes the laws to its own advantage. Democratic laws in the case of a democracy, tyrannical laws in the case of a tyranny, and so on. Having instituted them, then they proclaim that this is what is advantage to themselves, is just for those over whom they rule. And so they punish those who go against this as lawbreakers who are acting unjustly. So this, best of men, is what I say is just. It is the same in all cities. The advantage of the established ruling group. This presumably holds power, and it follows, if one reasons correctly, that just is the same as everywhere, the advantage of the stronger. So we have a government argument. So what is it? People want, or groups want to attain power and keep power. In order to do this, they will install rules that will keep them in power. Rules that keep people in power are rules that support the type of governance one group is governing by. Okay. I think that's not a bad one. So people want to attain and keep power, or the stronger rulers. To do this, they must. To do this, they will install rules that will keep them in power. Okay, rulers that keep people in power are rules that support the type of governance one group governs by. Now, there is a problem with this. Groups do things that are not in their self-interest. Okay. A lot of ruling groups don't do this. I understand what you're saying, said I, and I shall attempt to understand whether or not it is true. Thrasymachus, You two have answered that what is advantageous is what is just, even though you prohibited me from giving this answer, and yet the words for the stronger were added to it. Yes, minor addition, perhaps, he said. So, justice, according to Socrates, is, for Thrasymachus at least, the advantage of the stronger. Okay. It is not yet clear whether it is significant or minor, but it is clear that we should consider whether or not you are speaking the truth. Now, since I too accept that what is just is something advantageous, but you make an addition and say that advantage of the stronger, while I do not know, consider it we must. Consider it then, he said. That is what we shall do. Tell me then, do you not maintain that it is just to obey those who rule? Yes, I do. So here we have another definition. So it's just to obey those who rule. Yes, I do. And are the rulers of each city unerring, or are they also capable of making some mistakes? Okay. So rulers are not infallible. They can make mistakes. Absolutely, he said. They are quite capable of making some mistakes. So, as they said about instituting laws, would they not institute some laws correctly and others incorrectly? Yes, I think so. And what is instructed correctly is to their own advantage, and what is instituted incorrectly to their own disadvantage. Is that what you're saying? Yes. But whatever they institute must be enacted by those over whom they rule, of course. Then, according to your argument, it is just not only to enact what is advantageous to the stronger, but also what is advantageous to the strong, what is advantageous. Also, what the opposite, what is disadvantageous. What are you saying? What you are saying, I think. But let's take a better look. Yeah. So what you were saying, I think, but let's take a better look. Hasn't it been agreed that when the rulers are directing their subjects to enact something, they sometimes make mistakes about what is best for themselves? Yet it is just for the subjects to enact whatever the rules order. Has this not been agreed? Yes, I think so. Then you must suppose, said I, that you also accept that it is just to do what is disadvantageous to those who rule and are stronger, whatever the rulers unintentionally direct, what is bad for themselves, since you maintain that it is just for the others to enact what the rulers have directed. So in this case, wisest Thrasymachus, doesn't it not necessarily follow that it is just to do the very opposite of what you're saying? For the weaker have surely been directed to enact what is disadvantageous to the stronger. Okay, so let's have a look at this. Let's see if I have another piece of paper in my... Yes, I do. So what we're dealing with here is a tension between ignorance and knowing. So let's write this out. 339e. Then you must suppose, said I, that you also accept that it is just to do what is disadvantageous to those who rule. And they're stronger whenever the ruler unintentionally. So the ruler unintentionally uh, do a war. So they direct what is bad. Okay. So let's say, for instance, you've President X, any of these guys, we could pick from history, Stalin, Winston Churchill, and we say they go to war. Okay, I'm going to go to war. But we know that this is going to be bad for the rulers. And if we go up to the definition of what is just, to obey. So whatever the institute must be enacted by those over whom they rule. So you have to, if it's just as what is the interest of the stronger, to obey and just interest, you could do, because it is just to work out, do what is in the genuine interest of the stronger, then you do that. But then you're disobeying. Whenever the rulers unintentionally direct what is bad for themselves, since you maintain that it is just for the others to enact what the rulers have directed. So in that case, wisest Thrasymachus, does it not necessarily follow that it is just to do the very opposite of what you're saying? For the weaker have surely been directed to enact what is disadvantageous to the stronger. Yes, by Zeus, said Polemarchus. Nothing could be better, clearer. Yes, if you are to be his witness, said Cleitophon, interrupting. Why is there need of a witness? Said he. Thrasymachus himself accepts that. Pardon me now, I just need to blow my nose. Why is there need of a witness, said he. Indeed, Thrasymachus himself accepts that although the rulers sometimes direct what is bad for themselves, it is still just for the others to enact this. Because Polemarchus, Thrasymachus posited that to enact the orders of rulers is just. Okay, so we have Polemarchus entering here. Okay, so 340. So 340E, 336 to 340E. Okay. Yes, Cleitophon, and he also proposed that the advantage of the stronger is just. And having put both these proposals forward, he went on to admit that the stronger sometimes order the weaker folk, their subjects, to enact what is disadvantageous for themselves. Based upon these admissions, what is advantageous for the stronger would be no more than just than what is not advantageous. But, said Cleitophon, by what is advantageous for the stronger, he meant what the stronger person believes to be advantageous to himself. So here we have this appearance he meant what the stronger person believes to be advantageous to himself. This is what is to be enacted by the weaker, and he posited that this is just what is just. But that is not what he said, Polymarchus. That makes no difference. Polymarchus, said I. Rather, if Thrasymachus now means it this way, let us accept it from him in this way. So tell me, Thrasymachus, is this what you wanted to say? Is just what seems to be the stronger, to be the advantage of the stronger, whether it is advantageous or not? So here in 340, C, we have advantage, the appearance of it, the belief. Okay. Thrasymachus now means it in this way. Thrasymachus, so tell me, Thrasymachus, is this what you wanted to say? Is just what seems to be the stronger to be the advantage of the stronger, whether it is advantage or not? Shall we say this is what you mean? Not in the slightest, not in the least, said he. Do you think that I call someone who is making mistakes stronger at the time he is making the mistakes? Yes, said I. I did think you meant this when you accepted that those who rule are not unerring, but also make some mistakes. That is because, he said, you are conducting your arguments unfairly, Socrates. Take an immediate example. So we have Socrates relying on the appearance of being just. And then Thrasymachus is going to come in and talk about the nature of craft by giving an analogy. Do you call someone who is making mistakes and treating the sick a physician based on the actual mistake he is making, or someone who makes mistakes and calculating a calculator at the same time at the time he is making a mistake based on this mistake? No, I think that is just a manner of speaking. So he's also going to talk about language deceiving us. No, I think this is just a manner of speaking. We say the physician makes mistakes, the calculator makes mistakes, and so does the writing teacher. But in fact, I think each of these, insofar as they are what we call them, never make mistakes. So, experts, insofar as they are, by definition, an expert, make no mistakes. I think each of these, insofar as they are what we call them, never make mistakes. So according to this precise account, since you do speak so precisely, none of these practitioners err. Someone who makes mistakes does so in the absence of knowledge. Okay. Mistake is made in the absence of knowledge when he is not a practitioner. And so no practitioner, wise person, or ruler makes mistakes at the time when he is a ruler, even though everyone would say that the physician erred, and so the ruler. So it is in this sense in which you should understand the answer I gave you a moment ago. But the other account is more precise. The one who rules, insofar as he is a ruler, does not make mistakes, and he unerringly institutes what is best for himself. And this must be enacted by the one who is ruled. And so, as I have been saying from the outset, I say that what is just is enacting what is to the advantage of the stronger. Very well, Thrasymachus, I said. Do you think I'm arguing unfairly? Yes. So basically, if you make a mistake, you are no longer a craftsman. Because you think I asked my questions in the way I asked them as part of a plan to damage you in your arguments. So then around about 341, we have the craftsman. And then we also have the unfair argument. I know this quite well, he said. Yes, and you will not get any further, for you could not do this damage without my noticing, nor will you be capable of overpowering me in the argument, now that you have been found out. Blessed man, said I would not even make the attempt, but to avoid something of this sort happen to us all over again, please clarify in what you mean by ruler and stronger. Do you mean the ruler and the common and the stronger in the common sense of the words, or in the precise sense of what you explained just now? What is stronger, and whose advantage it will be just for the person, the weaker person, to enact? So here we come full circle again. So that's one moment. Socrates is asking him again at 341b. Please clarify. Okay. I will see you next time. And we will continue at 341b/c. Okay, till next time.